welcome or welcome back. My name is Ari and today we are doing my January TBR, which I call Dungeon of Books, with my new board that I literally made today, so it looks like shit, but whatever. So this is the board for this year. How this game works is pretty simple. Basically the inspiration for this is Dungeons and Dragons, and most Dungeons and Dragon parties start in an inn. This is an inn. We've got a bunch of tables. We've got 18 tables to be exact, because I rolled a D20. And there will be prompts on here in a second. We're gonna do that together, but right now all empty tables with numbers on it. And then a 1 and a 20 never change, so they're not going to have prompts on it. One's prompt is my Jar of Doom, which is just a jar full of every book on my TBR, physically on TBR, and I just randomly pick one out of there, and that's the one I have to read. And then 20 is always free choice. If I'm gonna roll a nat 20, I get to pick whatever the hell I want to read. But, like I said, our board's empty. We need to fill it with prompts, so that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna set it back here for now. It's a little far away, but you'll see how this works as we do prompts. So all of my prompts are in this bag, and I am going to grab 18 prompts right now, and we're gonna fill up this board. So prompt number 1 is very small. A book with a 4 or more star rating on Goodreads. Alright, that's how we're doing it. Alright, the next prompt that we're starting with this year is going to be this one, which says shelf 1. So I have a TBR shelf, like all my unread books are on one shelf. Any book on shelf 1 can be picked for this. Next prompt is this one, which is an anthology or short story collection. Next prompt is a random title link. I do 1 to 5 or more words, and then random number generate a number between 1 and 5. Next is going to be this one, which is an ugly cover. Come on, 2016 beauty YouTuber. Alright, 7 is going to be a book that does not have the word "the" in the title. Number 8 is going to be vibes. I don't know what vibe means. We'll figure it out if I draw it. 9 is a book under 250 pages. 10 is, ooh, I dropped it, a recent purchase. 11 is going to be gifted. 12 is a new to me author. Go and focus over here. There we go. 13 is a book in a series. 14 is going to be a book from a book box. Is a book over 500 pages. I don't even think it's focusing on that. Okay, there we go. 15 is, oh, I got 2. We're gonna go with this one. A book that I have purchased new. 17 is an audiobook. 18 is an arc. And the last one on the board for now, we switch this out every time we roll a number, but to start, 19 is going to be Oh, what is that? No, it's upside down, that's why I can't read it. A colorful spine. Now we've got prompts on the table, dice ready to go, and we're gonna roll the dice 5 times. 5 prompts. If I roll the same number twice in the same game, then I add an extra prompt onto there. But before we do this, I have another part of this game for anybody who is not new here, which are cups. So every month I draw an audiobook and continue a series out of these jars, and it's just 2 extra books on my TBR. I'm gonna start doing these at the beginning of the game instead of the end of the game, so I can add these into my 5 books if they fit somewhere, giving me more room to read whatever I want. So let's start with audiobooks and see what audiobook I'm reading this month. I just refreshed this. I went through, pulled out, I think, all of the books that I've already read and added all the ones that hadn't made it onto this list somehow. So let's go with this one. And this is going to be, oh, there it is. This is Troy. So this book is Troy by Stephen Fry. I have it right here. This is basically the story of Troy, or I assume it's the Iliad, because that's what the story of Troy is. So I'm gonna listen to this as an audiobook, and Stephen Fry narrates it, so yay, good audiobook choice. Alright, and what series am I going to continue? There's some pretty awful ones in here and some pretty okay ones in here. Let's see. This one is, oh, this is such a good one. This, oh, come on, focus. It's monstrous. Just what I always wanted, a graphic novel. I'm gonna put this back in the jar because this is definitely not finishing out the series for me. Alright, so let's get into the game. I'm going to move this setup to the floor so you can see what the dice picks, and you can see how much bigger the dice is than my board. Alright, so if the quality of this change and everything like that is just because I'm recording on my phone, it's also why it's wobbly, because I'm too lazy to set up that thing. So here we go. 8 is vibes, of course. Vibes. Roll number 1 is vibes. Vibes. So what does vibe means? I don't know. I didn't expect to get this right off. I'm just gonna go with what's giving me the vibes of January, of it's a new year, but it's also kind of miserable because everything's miserable, right? So January 2023 has a new vibe. So we're going with a new release, and we're also gonna go with a kind of depressing new release, and horror does that for me. So the vibe right now is gonna be How to Sell a Haunted House by Grady Hendrix. Let me know how you feel about that being my vibe right now, and if you disagree with how I translated my own damn prompt. Anyway, roll number 2. Alright, replacement is going to be something new. I like that, even though I don't want to roll an 8 again. Oh, stick. Okay. Roll number 2 is a 4, which 4 is right here. We've got an anthology or short stories. All right, for roll number 2, I got anthology and short stories, right? So this is an anthology or short story collection, or a short story. I'm gonna do a short story collection, which this is an arc from November that I never read, and it is Before Your Memory Fades by Toshikazu Kawaguchi, I think is how you say his name. Boyfriend's playing video games, please ignore in the background, but this is the third book in Before the Coffee Gets Cold series. It's about time traveling with like severe limitations on the time traveling, and I wanted to read it. I just didn't read anything pretty much at all in November or December, so there you go, new book added. And the replacement prompt is going to be this one, which is a minimalist cover. Alright, next dice roll is an 18, which is over here an arc. Next book is an arc. Which, I mean, the last one was an arc, but it is what it is. This one's gonna kind of seem like cheating, but I have an arc of this, but it's already released, so it's not an up-and-coming arc, and I also have a physical copy of it, but I still want to read this. This is A Fire Endless by Rebecca Ross. I have a NetGalley arc of it, so I can read it ebook or physical book, but this is not an art copy, but I have an art copy. Just go with it. Just go with it. Our replacement, we'll just grab this other one that I almost grabbed out earlier. Fantasy. I'd rather read a fantasy than an arc this month because I don't have any January arcs, but we'll make it work. Okay, next dice roll is a 17. Which is an audiobook. Next up, I rolled a 17 for an audiobook. And for this one, I'm gonna pick the audiobook that I pulled out of the jar earlier, Troy. This is like a 11-hour book, so it's gonna take me a while to listen to anyway. Might as well double up on this prompt. All right, and our replacement a book not set in the US. Hopefully the last roll. Oh no, it's a 17 again, which means an extra roll. And we're going for not set in the US. And for roll number 5, I thought it was home free, but I rolled a double. So we're adding a 6th roll, and for this, for 5, I need to read a book that's not set in the US. So for this, I'm gonna read a book that hasn't been released yet, which is Chain of Thorns by Cassandra Clare. It's set in London, I think, but I'm pretty sure it's set in London. So this is the beautiful book that I'm going to be reading. This is the last in this particular trilogy in her overall Shadowhunter series. Comes out later this month. I got it on pre-order, so I don't have a physical copy, but I will. Yes, I will. Alright. Top shelf. So that basically means this is my TBR shelf, and any book up there is the top shelf. Okay. 14, which is From a Book Box. And my final roll, number 6, I rolled a 14, which is a book from a book box. For this one, I don't have it physically here because, again, it hasn't come in the mail yet. This is this month's Book of the Month Club that I picked like yesterday or something like that. but it is Hellbent by Leigh Bardugo. So I know this is already coming in. I want to read it this month anyway, so it fits perfectly in here because it will be a book box book. That's my TBR for this month and my new TBR game for January. Let me know down in the comments what you think about it, and tell me a book that you're going to read this month or you want to read this month. Anyway, I'll see you tomorrow because we're doing this every single day for the month of January. Bye.